Goodbye. Good night.
Hello, and welcome back to most of you to the WrestleCollective Weekly Podcast. I am your host, and of course, I'm never here alone. I am Slick Flair, Jordan Carter, but always here with me, I've got Grumpy Omega.
I'm here to talk about Kenny and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
That was a nice setup. Also joined by Ryan, also known as Big Raps.
I gotta get Grumpy some bubble gum, but tonight is the big night. LeBron's showing up on TNA, the moment that we have all been waiting for, especially Sodo. I can't wait.
Well, already introduced. We've also joined by again the biggest Young Bucks fan I know, Sodo. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Happy to be here. Excited to talk about Coping Christian this week.
Yeah. There's a little bit of talk about there. Yeah, at least one of us. Also joined by Dev.
Sorry.
We're also joined by Dev. How you doing today, Dev?
I'm doing pretty good, and I am super excited to talk about maybe a musical sensation or two. Maybe.
Yeah, there. I guess the musical sensation's one way to put what we saw.
Sensation is a strong word.
Watch out, Grammys. Here comes.
Maybe a Razzie.
But yes, so today, a lot on the docket today. We're going to be going over a little bit of the SummerSlam build, as maybe you've heard me talk about earlier today. I know there's this dialogue with Andrew Baydala. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the SummerSlam build, giving a few predictions. We're not going to go through the whole card because honestly, I don't think anybody here is going to. I don't know. We'll try to get through the whole card of SummerSlam. We'll try. It's 2 nights, brother. It's 2 fucking nights. We'll try to get through that as quickly as we can.
How about the same matches as Redemption?
Or in one night. We're also going to talk about some of the fallout from Redemption, which we saw last night on Dynamite. Had a bit of an overrun, about 37-minute overrun. Dedicated to Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. Pretty good promo, pretty decent promo. Something to look forward to when we get to that conversation. And then we're also going to be talking about a subject that seems to be kind of prevalent right now, and that is the heel and face dynamic in wrestling today. How important is it? Is it, we're seeing a lot of babyface versus babyface nowadays. And then also there's the advent of, what is a heel? A lot of heels are getting cheered nowadays. So what do you guys think? We're going to set up a poll right now to just get set the seed. Is the heel? Is the heel? Is the heel face dynamic in wrestling? Is it needed today? Do you care? Or do you just want to see, a compelling story? Does there have to be a good guy? Does there have to be a bad guy? Different story dynamics there. So definitely make sure you vote in that poll. But before we get to any of that great conversation, returning from a 3-week, almost month hiatus. Graps, what happened this week in wrestling history?
That is a good question because some people got to do their jobs. First up, we got July 26, 2003. As we see, we got PWG on the screen because that day, PWG, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, held their first ever show. As we know, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla is an independent promotion that is very impactful on today's wrestling style, especially in AEW. A lot of their talents came from there, was still going up until like the early 2020s. I think they're currently on an indefinite hiatus. But that first event was held in City of Industry, California, main evented by AJ Styles and Frankie Kazarian. And I hope PWG comes back at some point. Who knows?
What a fucking lineup. Look at that.
Look
I'm not supposed to curse. There's somebody in the show.
Your favorite's probably been through this company. Like,
yeah, regardless of whether they're in WWE or AEW, they've more likely than not have been through PWG.
Does Tony not have the library to PWG at all?
No, because
High Spots.
Yes.
Okay.
High Spots, you think Super Dragon, Excalibur.
So with we saw the expansion of my AEW today, and you see PWG.
Before you even think about it.
You don't think so?
The PWG files.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
as much as I am a huge fan of PWG. There are some things, or if they cut some of that stuff out from commentary,
slurs,
from some of the wrestlers, slurs and stuff like that, then I would say go ahead with it, because I think PWG has affected the industry-wide, not just AEW, but it has affected down to the match types that these places have. I think it's a very important thing in wrestling history, but at the same time, if they're wanting to have, like a squeaky clean library, I don't know how good of an idea it is to do that, as much as I enjoy it. I hope the Bucks buy it one day. That's my hope, is the Bucks
and bring it back that way.
Yeah, because Southern California, the wrestling scene there, to me, is quite poppin', and I think that would only help just industry wide.
I mean, because we got, what is that? Adam Cole, El Generico. I wonder where he's at nowadays. CM Punk, a Tyler Black, known as Seth Rollins now. Bryan Danielson. Is that Coco? Yeah, is that Colt Cabana?
Yep.
We got a young Jerome before the long hair. Good God.
We got Johnny Gargano when he was still vertical.
Osprey has wrestled here. Guys like Dick Togo have wrestled here. The young
Jericho showed up in, I think, 2022 with the JAS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Actually, the last winner of the Battle of Los Angeles was Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
So that kind of ages this in that way.
By a good
did not know that. Yeah.
Next up. Yep. Shout out PWG. Next up, July 25th, 2011. We got an episode of Raw from Hampton, Virginia. And the reason that this is significant, not it being from Hampton, Virginia, or it being Raw, is there was a WWE title tournament, and the finals of that tournament saw Rey Mysterio take on The Miz, and Rey Mysterio won the tournament to become WWE champion before John Cena showed up.
What do you mean? Is that not Sami Zayn and CM Punk? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. That is Rey Mysterio and John Cena. I had to fix my context. I thought that was Sami Zayn and CM Punk.
So some call it the biggest decocking of the 2010s. And
wait, did Cena show up just to immediately take it off Rey?
Yes, that night.
Yes.
Rey won the tournament. Cena beat Rey later in the night to set up the CM Punk return, which was the first time in WWE that he used Cult of Personality to set up the rematch for.
Now, it was a great moment. I'm not gonna lie to you, like him coming back, but like we also forget, and this is what I hate. It was 2 fucking weeks. He was gone 2 weeks, like that.
No, not 1 week. He left the 17th. This was the 25th.
Yeah, 1 week. It would have been a lot. It would have hit a lot harder to me if he would have been gone a little bit longer. But regardless, this moment, I absolutely hate this moment.
Yes, everyone's celebrating, and look who shows up
to just ruin the fun, And like, I remember as a fan watching this, you remember like, oh, yeah, no, like he's going to lose. Like you felt the fact, like, oh no, he's going to lose. Like this was all for nothing. Like
the second you see Cena show up, because Jordan, right? You bring up Sammy and Punk. At least one, Sammy got to hold it for more than a day. At least it wasn't in random small town USA. It was in Chicago. Like if this was in Boston and Ray got to hold it for like a week or two, it's bad. But it's not nearly as bad.
Like, this is.
I don't think Ray ever got a rematch. Well, Cena or Punk were champions.
Did Ray even get to change his name on the belt?
No. Well, no, because this was the replica. This was the actual real belt. Remember, Punk still had that.
Yeah, he couldn't even get. I mean,
how fast can you screw on some side plates just to take them back off?
It was.
This was
before side plates.
A bad mark in this title's history. Shout out to is that Alex Riley? Yeah, that is Alex.
Yeah, that's Say It to My Face, Alex Riley.
In the background there.
Matt Cardona,
Ryder.
Mason Ryan,
Matt.
Who's who of wrestlers that we forget about. Oh, and there's Titus O'Neil. And then last up on this, July 24th, 2016, Battleground. I think this was the first edition of Battleground, and the reason that this is important is because the main event at SummerSlam this weekend is Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns for the WWE title. Well, 10 years ago, for the only time, we got the Shield three-way. Dev, throw them up for me, please and thank you. This was the match that people had wanted, the match that people had got. Dean Ambrose goes in as champ, comes out as champ, and now 10 years later, we have the Shield fist, the Shield bomb, the Shield chair. Roman and Seth keep falling Shield style. I had put this out. I remember when the Shield turn first started. I was in 5th grade. I will be at least 5 drinks in on Sunday during this Roman Seth.
Do you think there's any chance that maybe like Roman does the opposite of what Seth did, and like maybe Roman comes out in the Shield gear this time?
Oh, you mean actually Seth hitting Roman in the front with the chair and falling reverse Shield style?
I remember this. It was like it was cool because it was like, oh, all 3 of them, they've broken off, and because you look and they're all 3 in their unique aesthetics at that time. And I don't know, this like,
except for Roman, he was still in Shield.
Yeah, he was still for us to be how many years removed from this moment, and 2 of these guys are still kind of fighting over this moment
with the Shield chair.
It's I don't know. I not the biggest fan of Shield infighting drama, and not even when it started for me personally. I can't. Not my favorite. Not my favorite. But that was this week in wrestling history. Thank you, Big Graps. Thank you, Ryan, for bringing that back. Love that segment where we can always learn something. But to move the show along, so did you guys check out any concerts this week? You guys see any good musical acts this week?
I was looking at some Jonas Brothers tickets.
No. You Grumpy?
I watched the musical, and I half expected to see Weird Al Yankovic come out, but
Jordan,
I don't know.
That's sober. Rough. Do we want to do this while I'm sober? I don't want to.
All right. I mean, I figure we can just start there, or
let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. So Raw this week, to me, as a go-home show, just didn't really hit for me personally. We had a weigh-in where one guy didn't even weigh in. We have a weigh-in for something that you don't need weight classes for. I don't know. And then of course what a lot of people are talking about, what they're saying is probably one of the worst segments in wrestling history, and that is I Believe You Are Cursed. We talked about this on No Dirt, and kind of came to the conclusion that I think this hurt Joe more than it will ever hurt Danhausen. So I want to elect to the person who is the believer here. What do you think? What did you think of the segment? Do you think this hurt Joe at all? I mean, are you more into Danhausen because of this?
How he's looking away from the camera. he tried to pretend it's not real.
Yeah, this made Joe Hendry's job really, really difficult. He's gonna have to clean up his PR. Triple H put the believers in the mud. It's embarrassing. And yeah, it went on too long. Hopefully, no, bro, it's bad. I'm sorry. There's no,
Yeah,
not to me.
you
tried. You tried.
You can't save it.
Mhm.
It was cursed.
Like, yeah.
See, that's a point. One of the things he said is it went on too long. There's always room for a little fun, a little levity to break up, the show. But you got to know when you've worn out your welcome. I mean, Danhausen we've talked about this. He's there to be a mascot. He's there to, provide the bits and the levity. But you got to have a balance, man. You got to put the stop clock on and know when the audience has had enough and wants to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't know. Like I
Wait, did you go in the car?
I get it. You can't hear me?
We're getting your No Dirt audio.
Oh snap! Hold on, let me go ahead and fix that. You guys continue.
Yeah. Good.
I mean, as somebody who is a bit of an outsider, usually on my social media feeds, I see at least some wrestling from Raw and SmackDown. Like, I see people talking about the wrestling. That's usually what I'm fine with seeing that. But all I've seen this week in a go-home show being this segment and, like, the non-wrestling bits, the Danhausen truck, this, like, I'm like, but that's a bit, I don't get that. I don't see that very often, even coming from WWE. So I just, I found that a little shocking, even with who they have these types of segments sometimes, but usually people are really talking about the matches.
And I can see the connection because Joe Hendry, apologies, is known for his music, doing songs. I wouldn't say he's known for that, but he's known to do that. So there's a good connection there. And, anybody who's standing next to Danhausen's on TV every week. Anybody who's standing next to Danhausen is getting on TV. And that's okay. And, but just, I mean, I already said it, but just if it goes too long, it works to the detriment of the people involved. And I don't know, maybe it would have been cool if, like, at the end of it, Joe Hendry turns around and just blasts Danhausen with the guitar over the head. And it's like, you got to drag me into this, and da-da-da-da. There would have been a cool way to save it and turn that into a bit of a feud.
If he was Joe Jarrett?
Yeah.
And then with the guitar again?
Yeah, have it end on, like, a note that you can build something off of. Yeah, I don't know.
Not good. But yeah, I think this didn't progress anything forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's where are we from before to after with this? It's Danhausen, Dominik on opposite sides. The only thing is Danhausen's aligned with Joe Hendry. Dom has the Judgment Day as always, and then for some reason, let's get a noted good person, Ryan Garcia, to add nothing to this. I remember I was
That's
looking at
the part that like I am tripping about. It's
but that's
like,
peak WWE if you look about it, and once we get
have some social awareness. What does he bring that is worth the trouble that he brings? What does he bring? Literally the question: what does he bring?
Yeah, I'm with Grumpy. I'm like, what does he even do? What is?
He's a celebrity. So
usually
WWE has known not they've proven now it's like even if you have a really dodgy past, it doesn't matter, right?
They care more.
They looked at everything you said and you're like, yeah, you could come on TV because you're a boxer.
Go ahead, Soda.
They care more about the notoriety than anything having purpose. Like usually these segments, like you said, Grumpy, are fine to have. Like in moderation, there's a place for stuff. There's a place for comedy and bits in wrestling, but they need to have purpose. They need to serve a purpose that needs to, at the end of it, what got across is kind of what you mean there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where'd Dev go?
I guess Jordan comes back, we lose Dev.
Too much Joe Hendry slander, unfortunately for Dev.
He dropped out. No, it's not slander. We want better for Joe Hendry. It's Joe Hendry love. Dev, come back. No. We didn't mean it.
But I guess to continue this on, I guess what, and we'll ask our believer here, Dev, if he can hear us. Do you think there's a way to fix this concert? If you were, if you were in a scenario where you're writing the segment, where you're in charge of it, would you do it? Or if you had to do it, how would you do it?
He's muted. He may not have.
I know that Advocate wouldn't want it. Advocate is saying here in the chat, it is slander. Yeah. We don't want better for no place for Joe Hendry.
Brother.
Stay on that side.
So.
Oh, help me. Okay, so I was curious about the weigh-in part. Help me, because which one of them didn't actually weigh in?
So what happened was Obafemi's in the cell with Triple H and officials. He does the weigh-in. Brock comes out, shuts him in the cage. Oba cuts a promo, once again saying, listen, you're going to be the one locked in there with me. And it's status quo.
Okay. So I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Okay.
Yeah, which I think he said like last week or the week before.
I've said this multiple weeks in a row. On paper, Brock and Oba in a cage is going to be awesome. And I am very interested in watching it. The build around it, him having to give up his title, well, not having to, voluntarily giving up his title shot, we've talked about. But the match itself is like a highlight of the pay-per-view for me. I'm going to watch it. I will watch it. So for anybody who says that I'm just an AEW homer, that's not 100% true.
Away game.
Maybe 70% true. But yeah, I don't know.
I guess
I didn't watch the weigh-in, so I can't really give a very informed opinion. But
yeah,
regardless,
so I guess
it's probably gonna bang.
So I guess knowing that Soto isn't a big WWE watcher, let's pivot away from the weigh-in. And there was a part of this Danhausen Joe Hendry concert, that's related to this that I think it's a poignant point to talk about. Because a backstage segment later on in the show revealed that a stipulation was added to Danhausen versus Dominik. It will be a human monies on a pole match.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
So you know how Danhausen is. He always refers to money as human monies because he's a quote demon. So SummerSlam, we will be getting a human monies on a pole match between the two.
I guess props to them for making me question what does that mean? What's it going to look like? Because I don't know what that sort of thing will look like, I guess.
What do you think about the prospect of, on one of your big four pay-per-views, having a pole match, having money on the pole?
All right, let me ask another clarifying question.
All right.
Did they allude to this or set this up in any way, or was this just randomly added to the match?
So, I guess to inform the crux of the feud was, I guess Danhausen took money from the Judgment Day over something. I'm not necessarily sure. It was a few weeks ago. And Adam Pearce told Danhausen, hey, give the money back. And Danhausen, said no. And what resulted in this, came about on Monday, was the fact that the SummerSlam match will now be a human Monies on a pole match.
And Buff Bagwell's mom's up there too, holding the bag.
If only. Rest in peace.
Oh, I didn't know. Apologies. My apologies, Miss Bagwell.
Like, yeah, you're kind of right. Why is this on one of the bigger pay-per-views?
Yeah,
like,
so
like Saturday Night's Main Event or something.
So on Saturday Night's Main Event was Danhausen versus JD McDonough, and I guess a way to build to this match.
So then Money in the Bank will be Danhausen is working way through the ranks. He's going to face Liv Morgan at Money in the Bank.
Brother, I guess to look at it from a more objective perspective, I guess for lack of a better term, it's. I don't know when the last time there was a pole match on not just a Big Four pay-per-view, but a pay-per-view in general. Yeah. And there's been a lot of people saying, oh, this is straight out of the Vince Russo playbook. And, you're getting a lot of those comments because, he's famous for the on a pole matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking, right, I guess, turn the focus away from Danhausen because Danhausen, it's popular to look at him in this scenario, right? Especially because he's getting the ice cream truck, and we'll probably talk about that and the overexposing Danhausen conversation. But let's focus in on Dom, right? You're seeing Dom's booked in this sort of match that I feel like gut feeling we all feel he's going to lose. But at the same time, you look at how he is in AAA. He's the big champ right now. He's the Mega Campeon. Soto, I know you're like the most well-versed here in Lucha Libre, right? Mm-hmm. In Mexican wrestling. You're looking at the world champion of one of the two biggest Mexican promotions wrestle Danhausen in a pole match. What's going through your head in terms of the difference in how Dominik is being booked across these two sectors of WWE?
Yeah, I think it's a shame because Dom is one of your younger stars, and I think he's one to push. I've heard so many good things about Dom. From what I've seen, he's pretty good, and I understand. I don't want to say I understand it coming from AAA because AAA has always wanted to be buddied with WWE. That's why the acquisition did shock me in the first place, is because they've always kind of aimed in that direction. But at the same time, you don't have to cuck out your world champion. You don't have to do that. And it's AAA. I know they're under WWE, but are they able to say anything like, hey, maybe book him a little bit better, make him look a little bit better because he is our world champion, and we want him to look fine. I know that at least Mexican promotions, the big ones, the way they book their world champions is a little bit different than how we view a world champion in, say, an American promotion or the Japanese. Mexico is very unique in that regard. It's like their champions can lose and it doesn't hurt them as much. But your WWE, you put a lot of emphasis on your world champions. You put a lot of worth in them. So it's just a bit strange. And with Danhausen as well, he's wrestling a lot more than I thought he was.
Okay, Soto, I have a question. I have a question because I'd love to know your opinion on this. Yeah. Fair's fair. Tony has not been making Persephone look as strong as Persephone should look. What do you think about that?
CMLL also their world champions get pinned all the time. If we're viewing it, you're viewing it as AEW fans, we're viewing it as like really which is, it's not a bad thing. We have an American lived experience. We don't really we grew up with that sort of thing. Their champions lose all the time and doesn't necessarily hurt them. they book their champions a lot less. Like the championship is not as emphasized as, you know, the character. It's not as emphasized as everything else. The championship sort of comes second. And I can understand how that would feel to somebody who's used to seeing their world champions or their champions across the board be really strong. And like, these are the most important people and the most strong booked people. It just happens to be a little bit different.
I've heard
CMLL
advocates say
Japan.
that a lot, where like hair versus hair matches or mask versus mask mask
Take
matches
take importance and precedence
are-
over the championships.
like
They
really
can't-
are the pinnacle of like stakes in CMLL.
Yeah, absolutely. That the Apuestas match is the most, I think, in my opinion, one of the most meaningful, if not the most meaningful match that any type of luchador or luchadora could have. And Hannibal said here in the comments, Persephone has lost a lot more in CMLL AEW than AEW this year, or so I heard. Absolutely. I think it's not AEW's issue to clean up the things that their partner companies are doing. Persephone has gotten pinned by Tessa Blanchard, and you heard me on Queens Road, the past 2 weeks. So it's like people should also be upset at that decision. But I think also with her loss, she lost not clean. That was not a clean.
And I think on the Persephone track, right? A big part of why I guess people are in an uproar is on the Wrestling Observer. Brian Alvarez was saying that people in WWE are baffled by how she's being booked in AEW,
That's weird.
and that there's a lot of, like, once her deal comes due, that there'd be a lot of interest in WWE.
I
even
know
though
what they're trying to do,
So
they're
even
trying to
though-
calm the waters.
So even though there is, like, you know, the expectations, like the champions aren't booked as prominently as they would be in the States, should Tony, I guess, not necessarily ignore that, but factor in outside interest into his booking?
Yeah, I think that would be great. Because a lot of the times domestically is who these companies are, whether it's New Japan, AEW, WWE, they are targeting their domestic audience first. But like, I would love if AEW and Tony were to kind of, I don't want to say pander, but like kind of appeal to maybe more Japanese or Mexican fans. And Abel asked if, oh, sorry.
So, Mike, because you're using the word pandering here, and what I'd like to ask is, Persephone's dual contracted. She is an AEW talent.
Yes, she is.
Would you consider it pandering if, you know, he's changing how he's booking an AEW talent, as opposed to, like, if this was Zack Sabre Jr., who's not contracted to AEW?
That's interesting. Because also their contracts in Mexico are like paper. They're like napkins that you can blow in.
They're like TNA contracts?
I think that's why some people, like the bigger people in CMLL, Persephone, Hachicero, Masquerada, Mystico are some of the biggest people in AEW. I mean, in CMLL, and they have those AEW contracts, so they're kind of tied down a little bit more. I think pandering might be the wrong word, but just like appealing to them, because like I know the like Mexican fans, they don't like some of the influence that AEW has had on CMLL. That's a choice of CMLL. That is their choice, the way they choose to run their company. Tony's not going in there and demanding all this stuff, as far as I'm aware. So,
Dev, what do you think about this? If because I know you were, looks like you were dealing with some tech issues earlier, so I don't know if you were able to hear all of what we were talking about here.
Yeah, Persephone, the seed that they're trying to plant like that for her is kind of hilarious, but the way I've been gauging Persephone's run so far, I would have had her become TBS champion some time ago. Capitalize off of her win with Mercedes and her attachment to the company already. She could have been a pretty big deal. She still can. I'm not really worried about her ceiling, but she has a lot of personality. I think she's just super entertaining, and
absolutely.
Yeah, she should be like showed on a regular basis, like on like as much as Tony Storm. Honestly,
she has something that you can't teach in wrestling. It's that serious. So like,
I hope so.
As much as
We're good.
As much as there is this.
Sorry to interrupt. We got him back.
I agree with Jeff. Welcome back, Jordan.
Jordan, we're talking about Persephone.
I've been having technical issues all day, even if you saw me on No Dirt. So sorry. No, I've been watching. Here's the thing with Persephone, and we still need to get back to some of the SummerSlam stuff.
Yeah.
But with Persephone, it's just you don't want to have a talent like that which you don't like take advantage of. Like, I understand the model, the age-old model in AEW is you got to take your lunch. You're going to lose. Someone gave me an example of Willow, right? And I can understand that, right? You got to take your lumps. But explain Mariah May. Then explain Mariah May, right? You can't, do you have to take your lumps, or is it does he not sometimes does he miss the mark sometimes? And I think this was an opportunity. I think this is where he missed the mark. There's other women that I'm sorry, Grumpy, but throw out Anna Jay versus Persephone. Let her Anna Jay eat a pin. Hyen could have. If you want to start a story, have Hyen come out there, who's Maya World's tag partner, who hasn't been doing anything.
Do you think this could have been the all-in match?
No, because even then, you need Persephone to win. I'm sorry, Persephone needs to start taking wins and wins on Dynamite. She had a squash match,
but if she beat Hyen on Dynamite, and you build up to, that's what I'm saying. If you build up to Maya and Persephone, you get Persephone those wins going into something like All In,
and
then she loses to Maya.
I'd be okay with a good rivalry to go with to follow the win up as well. Like, having her backstage is important. It's kind of crucial too, because she's a good talker. She's a really good talker, so she can maximize it.
All In. I've seen a bit of a habit with the booker of striking while the iron's hot and then moving completely away from it.
So I want to get back because we have SummerSlam this weekend.
Yes.
And so before we really talk about some of the fallout from, again, I want to get you guys opinion on some of the build, because this doesn't feel like this party of the summer. Not to me. I am not interested in Cody and CM Punk. I'm just not. I'm not very much interested in the Shield story told once again. Yes, there are some. You got Gable and Penta. That's gonna be cool. You got the 6-man. That's gonna be cool. But the things that I feel like you're supposed to really be biting into right now, I find myself kind of it's hard to bite in. What do you guys think of this SummerSlam build? How are you feeling about it? I'll go to the people who I know watch. So, Dev, what are you thinking about the SummerSlam build?
It's bad, but the cards are cool. I'm cool with the cards.
Because it's a good card, right? And that's the crazy part about
pull up
this.
the card?
Yeah, go pull up the card, because we're about to go through some of the predictions as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because you've got, so you've got some good matches up here, right? EO and Liv, that should be good. Gunther and Nick Aldis, I'm actually pretty excited for that. Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, that's a good match there. Again, I said Gable, Penta, that's another good one.
I got 4 matches I'm interested in, 2 on each night.
I've got one real match that I'm like, all right. Everything else, if I miss it, I'm okay with missing it.
Yeah. I'm not stopping at the bit for these 4. I just mean a general level of interest that I would want to watch. The others I could just skip.
So let's go. Let's just go with it. Let's go to night 1,
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go Fatal Influence, versus the Bree Twins, the Bella Twins. Excuse me, I said Bree Twins. The Bella Twins in
Rage mode.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I said on No Dirt, I think Fatal Influence should win this match, and Nikki and Bree should take out Paige, turn heel. I like that idea. Shout out to Phil, friend of the show, who gave that idea. But Graps, I'll go to you. What do you who you got?
I mean, I honestly, this is one of those matches that I can, and I hate to say because I like Fatal Influence, but I don't care about this match. There's no meat on the bone for me here. Would I want Fatal Influence to win? Sure, because I enjoy their act, but this is not something that I care about that much, and it's a damn shame.
Grumpy. I don't know you've been.
Sorry, I have no thoughts on this.
On this card, yeah. So I'll just select.
I have thoughts on a couple of matches on this card, but on this particular match,
so then tell me what you think of the card. The card, then tell me what your thoughts on the match of the card.
I think I'm kind of with Graps. There's I'd say about half. I'd say it's about half and half. Half of these on each night, I'm interested in. I've said I'm interested in Brock and Oba like massively. I am actually a little bit interested in Roman and Seth, to be honest. I think it's a little cheesy that they're just calling back to Shield stuff again, which they did not too long ago. But I would, the Shield is a legendary stable. There's nothing wrong with every once in a while acknowledging your history. I would hope this time the outcome's different. So I don't know. We'll see. Finn and Sammy. Sammy's always entertaining. Danhausen and Dom, I want to watch just for the pure comedy. And sometimes you just want to laugh. What can I say?
It's your Sharknado?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good example. That's a very good analogy. So, there's things I can find here that I'd enjoy seeing. I mean, Gunther matches. I love Gunther matches. They hit hard. He, just tosses people around. It's the kind of wrestling I like to watch. So I really would say this
and Aldous is motivated. It's his first match in years.
And I wouldn't say
I didn't get to watch the Van Vliet interview, but I
was good.
Heard from Jordan, how Nick Aldis really cares about this match.
Yeah,
and with him being motivated and Gunther being one of the best,
I'm meh on about half of it. So
yeah.
So in the interest of time, Graps, I'm gonna go back to you. Just give me the rundown of your whole card. Give me your predictions of the whole card. I'm having everybody go through.
I think instead of predictions, what I'll do is this. Andrew said, Andrew Badal is like, there are 3 main events, right? It's Cody Punk, Oba Brock, Roman, and Seth. The only one of those 3 I'm interested in is Punk and Cody. I don't care about Brock and Oba in the cell. It's probably gonna be one of the shortest Hell in a Cell matches. It's 2 big guys slapping meat. Sure,
12 minutes.
The match should be Oba and Roman. Point blank. Period. Oba won the King of the Ring. If you're having Punk Cody, there's no way in hell that this match should be happening. Otherwise, don't have Oba win King of the Ring. You wasted a month. And like I said, there were 4 matches. It's Punk Cody, Gunther Aldis that I'm interested in. Finn and Sammy, because I think they're actually telling a good story with Sammy, and Finn's a good wrestler. And then the best built match on the whole damn card is Penta Gable. And they're 2 good wrestlers. Everything else I can leave, right? The ladder match is probably going to, for me, I think people are going to be underwhelmed by it. I think Chelsea's going to take a great bump through that ladder. But besides that, it's whatever, because whoever wins is probably going to lose to Rhea Ripley. Roman Seth, it's the Shield chair, the Shield fist, the Shield bomb. It's stuff that's been going on for a decade plus. This is one of Roman's defenses from his last title run that they're running back again. It's boring. I don't care for it. Right? And you look at the talent that's in the WWE. The product should be better. I don't think there's
one of your big 4.
Yes, this is one of your big 4. And what I've been hearing a lot is there's some people, a lot of mixed opinions, and some are saying that the card is stacked. I think stacked is a strong descriptor. I think it's better than WrestleMania, but I don't think it's good.
You said something right there.
Mm-hmm.
With the roster that they have, the product should be better. And I want to say that just a couple of days ago, Triple H came out with a comment. I wish more people would focus on the talent than on the writing, which directly speaks to exactly what you just said. He's he's making a cop out for the fact that he can't put a card together that people are interested in. You're right. With this roster, somebody could make gold out of this. Triple H Cannot. I don't know why. He just sucks as a booker.
No,
Man.
but here's the thing. He did at one point. You look at WWE even in 2024, 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And while I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, it's a product I still enjoyed.
I'll even give the benefit of the doubt, because we've talked about this. I'll even give the benefit of the doubt that he's getting pressure from up top, from TKO, to put a couple of these matches together. But, to come out with a quote like that, "Don't blame my writing. It's not my fault." He would have been better not to say anything at all.
Mm. And I think this is just one of those. It's just a reminder that, because we try to be objective, call things down the middle. Yes, we understand our biases, but we try and frame those in a way to where we can give out the best critiques possible and provide the most value, right, as content creators.
There's guys here that if you just let them off the chain, could just kill it, man.
Yeah, it feels really hard to be constructive.
Lucy's got a great point here. Great. Newest collective member, Lucy. Make sure you guys subscribe to Critical Hit Wrestling. That's Lucy's gaming channel. Make sure to please subscribe to that. I think they just got over 100-some subscribers, so let's keep that going. But no, she has a great point here. They won Promotion of the Year with just about the same.
Triple H won Booker of the Year that year too.
And it's the writing. So, like I said, in the interest of time, let's not bullshit ourselves. I mean, this is a show for fans, by fans. I'm only simply interested in Oba and Brock here, right? This is a 3-card show, right? But I would just... I feel bad for the rest of the card because the matches are going to be good, but the story doesn't, does not make you feel like it adds up. But again, we know we're not interested in weak storytelling and bad booking, so we're just going to kind of move on. Again, we want SummerSlam to be better. I think it'll be a good show, but I think it's poor, storytelling and booking up until this point, where most of us are saying, "Hey, look, this is I'm only interested in this match," or "I'm only interested in this match." I think that says an awful lot. So please, if you're interested in SummerSlam, if you want to see both nights 1 and 2, or are you like us who think this is a 1-match card, please let us know in the poll and let us know in the comments. As well
1 for yes, 2 for no.
As well as, just want to thank everybody who is watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, as you know when we go live. As you guys know, this past week, we had our latest Queens Road episode. It's Queens Road is our twice-a-month podcast now, talking all things women's wrestling. So definitely make sure you guys check that out. Because, again, back on the AEW tip, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the women's division, because I'll just go ahead and start here. Last night, we had Mercedes Moné come out and have a kind of I thought was a great promo battle back and forth between her and Willow Nightingale.
Damn, that crowd was into it, dude.
Right. Oh, yeah. They were really, really... First off, the Detroit crowd was really, really good, but that promo in particular, I'm going to be honest, how do you guys feel, right? I'm not the biggest... Because I don't think Willow's long for being champion, right? I don't like the way we got here, right? I really don't like the way we got here. Sodo, I'll go to you because you've been a little quiet. I want you to talk on this one. How did you feel about the promo battle between those two last night? And how are you feeling about Willow? Because you predicted on this past Queens Road that you wanted her to win, and she did. So tell me what you think about this promo.
Yeah, I thought it was great. The energy that these two brought, not only from the crowd, but my entire timeline was losing it during this. And it feels really good for the women's division to have that sort of time in the ring, like an in-ring face-to-face. Yes. So it makes the build super exciting. And I've been thinking about it lately, when it comes to the all-in match with these two is Willow. She will win the title again. It's taken me a while to be like, she will be able to build herself back up. She will be able, if anybody can do it, Willow Nightingale can do it. Like it says here in the comments, Willow cannot be healed. Absolutely. If it's inevitable that Mercedes wins at All In, I think that Willow will be just fine. And it does like hurt me a little bit inside saying that because, you know, Willow has put so much forth in this build and in coming back from injury and her mental health, and it's such a beautiful story. Like seeing Willow Nightingale cry in that ring last night made me want to cry. Like I was on the phone with my partner and we were just like sobbing, like because it just felt so powerful. And Willow to have that opportunity to really share that with us was amazing. And so I'm super excited to see the rest of the build, see how the rest go, because they have a match next week in Arena Mexico. So the build should be pretty good.
Grumpy, tell me what you think.
Yeah, a lot of emotion from Willow. The crowd really bumped that segment up to the next level. I loved her line, and I'm paraphrasing, about how Mercedes hates her because she just can't win the big one. And I got to be honest, man, I have Willow going over it All In. I think you could get a little more meat out of the story of Mercedes just can't win the big one, because she was gone for a long time. We were missing her for a long time. We were missing a lot of good storytelling you could have done. For a good reason. I'm not blaming her. Don't get me wrong. But now with her back, there's a little more good storytelling you could tell. I got Willow going over.
Mm-hmm.
Really? So maybe Mercedes can't win the big one? I mean, I had the argument that if Mercedes loses, she's going to be taking up the same spot at the same arena twice and losing twice. Like, I don't think that like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that because my biggest question here, and to move the conversation along, Graps, where does Tekla go from here? What do we do with Tekla?
That's a good question, right? And I don't know if there's anything really substantial for her right now in AEW with the way that this women's roster is built. Because could she feud? You know, could she have a program with Chris Statlander again? Sure, but why? You know, I feel like anyone she would have a program with right now outside of that or Willow or Mercedes kind of feels like a downgrade. But I mean, unless saw someone comment here, maybe Kairi Sane, maybe if she's going to AEW, that's a good if. But if we're a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Like, I guess my best case scenario, it feels like for her, is the Casino Gauntlet and not even winning it. Maybe she has, maybe she wrestles Maya World, but are you gonna have her lose to Maya World after just losing the women's world title? Probably not.
I want to say we shouldn't look past the fact that Tekla is in a feud literally with an entire roster of an entire promotion, which is pretty ballsy.
Yeah, I gotta. People have been saying Stardom, their 5-star tournament ends a week prior to All In, so they could build something over in Stardom. It's just going to be really difficult.
The Triangle could defend their belts. Yeah,
I mean,
it's possible, but it's going to be difficult.
And that's cool.
It ends quickly, like that close to All In.
And I like that. That's fine, but like, I need you. You've got to feed your partnership. I understand you got to feed your partnerships. I understand you want to show goodwill and whatnot. But man, you've created a monster. You created a star in Tekla. I don't think anybody had the foresight to say Tekla's stock would be this high. We all knew she would be good once she got the title, but she truly elevated this division in the same way Toni Storm elevated the division. And so where Toni Storm
being given a lot less.
And given a lot less at that. So we kind of knew what was going to kind of play out and happen with Toni Storm, like her future, even though she's gone right now, we kind of, this one, I find a few of us are like, okay, what do we really do? Like,
because didn't you bring up how earlier today you brought up how she wasn't on Dynamite, right?
Yeah, no, she
loses on Sunday, and she's not on Dynamite on Wednesday, and it's also not the first time that she defends her belt at the pay-per-view and isn't on Dynamite that week. So,
and you're right, Grumpy. You're right, Sodo. She got a whole another locker room that she beefing with. She still got a belt. She's a trios champion still.
But you better start that now.
But we gotta. I just like the same kind of thing with Persephone. You gotta strike. Sometimes you gotta strike with the iron's hot, because what I don't want is a Stephanie Vaquer situation. What I don't want is a Mariah May situation. What I don't want is a Catalina.
What if you put those two together?
Because like
Tekla, Persephone, not really doing much right now. Can have them wrestle.
I mean,
and even if Persephone loses, she's in there with the former women's champion.
That someone would have to turn face, or maybe they don't. That's a conversation we're going to have here a little bit later. This heel versus baby face dynamic. But Soto, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would. So they have somebody that's not in the 5-star. She's the IWGP Women's Champion, Sherry. She was on All In last year. I think that would be a really, if they're going to build Tekla for like singles, which is what I would do, because I just think the logistics of doing the trios belt, the Artist of Stardom belts in AEW, is kind of messy because Julia's gone. She is she's
the 5-star.
doing the 5-star. So like having a high caliber wrestler like Sherry, who was using a Casino Gauntlet last year, this would be I think that would be for the IWGP Women's Championship. I think that would be like a really good match to build to.
I would actually really like that. Dev, hopefully we got you good. Tell me what you think of this Willow promo from last night. Willow and Tekla. And where do you think Tekla goes from here?
She probably gets one filler title defense, and she'll pass it to the CEO at All In. But she is the right winner. Like, one of the few people to pin Mercedes should be Willow. Like, I think it seems like a long running feud. They have a very accomplished rivalry, and it sets them apart from like all the other matchups on the card too, aside from like Kenny and Ospreay. So Willow's doing her part, and I think it's going to make her a multi-time champion after she passes it to Mercedes.
Another thing. Well, first off, let's just get to it. Something that we did not see that we kind of thought we were going to see, what we may see tonight. That's Motor City Machine Guns. Quickly, do you guys think they belong? Do you guys want to see them in AEW? We've got a lot of teams that we're not doing anything with already. The Hurt Syndicate are not hurt. They're chilling. They're not doing anything. Private Party is hurt. The Rascals are making an appearance tonight, I saw. There's a bit of a backlog in the tag division right now. So with the potential breaking daybreak, whatever they may be called, Kofi and Creed, they as a potential newer day may be coming in. How do you guys feel about also a potential Motor City Machine Guns? Grumpy, I'll start with you.
I've said this before, and people may disagree with me, but if you were only watching AEW the last 6 months, you'd think there were only 3 tag teams in the whole company. And that's really bothered me because I love tag team wrestling. So if it takes bringing in these 2 potentially new teams to revitalize this tag division, I'm for it. Kofi and Woods are endlessly creative. If they're let off the chain and allowed to flourish, they're going to kill it. I'm super excited to see what they'll do. I'm not as familiar with the Motor City Machine Guns, but I am willing to learn. I'm always willing to give new wrestlers a chance. Like I said, I've said before I love tag team wrestling, and I really want this division to be more prominent. We've been in this kind of like story of the belt has to pass through the hands of Cope and Christian to get onto the Young Bucks because this is the dream match that we wanted to get to. Okay, I'm not the biggest Young Bucks fan of the five of us. It's fair to say, right?
I'm looking at you. I hear everything.
I just, we're going to get through this, and we're going to come out the other side, and I hope we can get more teams involved. Like you said, there's a lot of teams that are just sitting and chilling, and I want them to get involved. A young, up-and-coming team, Rookies of the Year 5 years in a row, I think are due for a big title shot on the main roster. We'll see if that happens for my guys, my outrunners.
I would just like to see them on Dynamite. You know, that would be nice.
They're champions in ROH, and they're having a great run. They're super entertaining always. The gimmick of Turbo wearing his belt all throughout the match and using it sort of as a weapon is hilarious. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
Sodo, tell me what you think about a potential Motor City Machine Gun.
I am a huge fan of Motor City Machine Guns. They have contributed a lot, not only to my love of professional wrestling and tag team wrestling, but Alex Shelley in particular has inspired so many of y'all's favorite wrestlers. Like, he is across the independents, and those people, they go up to bigger companies, and I think this would be the place for them. They were going to be in AEW in 2024. They were supposed to face the Young Bucks for the titles. That was supposed to be a thing, but it didn't happen. I just, like, sentimentally, I really want it, and I'm super excited to see where this tag division goes. I think it's already great, and you can make it better with having other teams here. I don't want it to continue to feel like, oh, we have to get over this road bump that is Cope and Christian, and I like Cope and Christian as much as the next guy, but it just kind of feels like that, unfortunately. But that match, super excited for. That is like super special to me. Especially child me, I grew up loving both of those teams. I'm looking forward to the build to it, the match itself, and what the Bucks. Yes, my prediction is the Bucks winning. What they do after that, because the Bucks have history with Motor City Machine Guns, lots of it.
Only you could turn a question about the Machine Guns coming into AEW
an art form.
And somehow throw in the Young Bucks in there.
They have lots of history with one another. That feels like the ideal one thing that they would do. Maybe not right away. Who knows what they do? It's really hard to pick what they would do first. But yeah, I'm all for them joining. And if they don't, I wish them luck wherever they go.
Well, one thing we got from last night too that I definitely don't want to remiss to be talked about. As we're kind of moving through the show, there was an overrun last night. We had a 37-minute overrun, and it was kind of seemingly dedicated to what I thought was one of the better promos in AEW history, and that is between Kenny Omega, Jerome, as I like to call him, and Will Ospreay. That's the new warning shot, Will Ospreay. Yeah, no, I thought it was a great promo battle, man. I thought it was good, back and forth. They got a little spicy. I would like to got a little spicier, if you ask me. But not quite the G1 promo battle that they had from way back when. But, definitely the intensity was there. The gauntlet is definitely thrown down. I'm excited for this match. I mean, you couldn't get me any more excited. But, Dev, tell me what you thought about the promo between Will Ospreay and between Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega.
Him getting those 4 slaps off is crazy. Great promo. Great sequence. Segment of the year.
Segment of the year.
Just for them 4 slaps.
Grabs, tell me what you think, man.
I think Dev would like to say, what a segment. But I think Kenny can be so hit or miss on promos, and this was one that clearly hit. One of the big complaints going into tonight was the build between Kenny and Osprey and how Osprey's been treated, right? I think this, I don't even want to say single-handedly, but what a huge step to correcting that. What a way to sell the pay-per-view, right? To get people interested. Now, I guess my one critique is you said about a 30-minute overrun. I wish this was something that started during the 2 hours at least. Maybe you end it like 10 minutes after. I think if you want people to watch this, right? Make sure you put this on when the most people are watching Dynamite. Like, I hate to be like the quarter-hour gamer here, but
I
set
felt
yourself
the
up
same
for
way.
success.
Yeah,
Right?
I kind of felt the same way. You
As great as
asking
it
a lot
was,
from people.
as great as it was, there was a little voice in my head say, "Take it home, take it home. Let's wrap." I gotta take these magnesium melatonin gummies so I could go to sleep.
Yeah. Some people got work in the morning. No, I agree. No, it was a little. I'm not gonna say little long, but like I said on No Dirt.
No,
earlier,
it was a little long. You could say that.
I would have liked to end with a match personally.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that they if you're gonna have an overrun, end on some action.
I think
especially.
especially right, especially because AEW always touts themselves as the alternative, and ever since Roman won the belt, just about every show he's been on ends with him at a talking segment.
Yeah. Grumpy, Mr. Grumpy Omega. How did you feel about the promo?
Well, I love it. I loved it because at the end of the pay-per-view, at the end of Redemption, we're all confused as to why did Kenny do this? Why did he attack Will? Will saved him. What is he doing? Kenny's explanation for it was perfect. He gave Will opportunity after opportunity to make the right choice, and Will continuously made the wrong choice. And Kenny was only put in that position with the Death Riders because of Will's choices. Yeah, you saved me. You saved me from a situation you caused. And I still got beat down by like 7 guys. I still almost got a bag put over my head. You don't get to wipe that away by coming to your senses at the last 3 seconds. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for your bad choices. Kenny's saying, you lied to me. Well, you lied to me. I think it's a great setup. Kenny felt ultimately betrayed by Will's choices after the promos they had. We talked about this too. They set this up with Kenny, Will having a promo with Kenny, and it was always, framed in light, right? It was bright and the lights were on. Then he would go have a segment with the Death Riders, and the lights were dimmed and it was dark.
I didn't really like that the Death Riders were all up and down the show either. Andrew pointed that out. Like I could have done without 3 Death Rider segments in the show. I want to point that out too.
So they have been teeing this up for a long time, and I think that promo was a great pinnacle to it. Of Will made the wrong choice, and he's out of chances, and now Kenny's taking it personally, and he's out for vengeance.
Sodo, tell me what you thought about your glorious Jerome.
Yeah, I'm kind of
because me and you the only people who can really call him Jerome. By the way,
yeah.
Like me and Sodo, like we on a we cool like that.
Yeah, that's actually Tyson Smith to y'all. That's Tyson
that's actually Tyson to y'all. Yeah. That's to y'all.
I can't call him. I can't call him Tyson. Don't slap me.
I think Will put himself in that position. He willingly was not listening to anybody else, and he put himself in that position with the Death Riders. So he really can't act surprised that Kenny doesn't like that. One of the biggest forms of betrayal to Kenny Omega is that hesitation that I'm gonna betray you in the way that it's just that hesitation. And I thought back on Redemption to this moment in New Japan, when the Elite formed, when Kenny Omega One Wing Angel AJ Styles in that very same kind of manner. I'm like, If
He did
just
the hair
repeating
thing and
patterns,
everything. Yeah.
you don't betray Kenny like that. You don't hesitate on that. You either do it or you don't. So I understand, and I was pleased to see how the redemption show ended off with the Elite. Of course, not shocked. But overall, that with Kenny especially, he was a killer. He was a demon. Like that is, and I'm not saying I don't think Kenny's a bad promo at all, but just that brought me back. That brought me back to the way Kenny would cut promos, like as champion and in New Japan. Like it felt so real.
I I love that we're talking Kenny and whatnot. And again, if you haven't watched Dynamite last night, pretty great episode, pretty great way to follow up on a pay-per-view. But it still left us with a question that we want answered. Is Kenny Omega a face? That is something that we've all been trying to figure out. Some people say yes, some people say no. Some people
Maybe so.
Some people say Kenny did nothing wrong. I this brought us to a kind of conversation that I would like to get to today in our last about 20 minutes of the show here, and that is the heel and face dynamic in wrestling, guys. Is because again, some people are looking at what Kenny did and saying he's not. Oh no, that's not a heel. He's just kind of it's competition, it's gamesmanship. Some people may say. I don't know. I kind of do see and agree with what Lucy said. Yeah, they're going in. They're doing the '92 SummerSlam. But I want to ask the question: like, in this day and age, do we need the heel and face dynamic? Because or are you sold on just for this one in particular? Are you sold on just the athleticism, just the history of the two? Did you need Kenny to do that, to do the kind of the heelish move? Do you need him to kind of cut that heelish because that was kind of a heelish promo that he cut last night, a little bit, Did this feud need the clear outright heel versus babyface or somebody, or are you sold on it just off the history? Dev, tell me what you think. Did this need a heel versus babyface dynamic?
I was sold off the history alone, but I think Kenny turning on him is cool.
Soda, what do you think? Are you needing the heel versus face? Did you need Kenny to give him a one angel to get you locked in?
Low key, this made me more locked in, but with the babyface heel dynamic, I don't think not necessarily it always needs to be that. With this, and why I like the face, usually it's testing like this pride between two wrestlers, this resilience between two wrestlers, this like who's the better man, and I think that's why them both being face really works out, because I'm like, it feels like two guys that have this history with one another that are fighting, so it doesn't always need those clear cut lines. While I want that thing to still stay around, so this works for me.
So Grumpy, how are you feeling? You're saying he did nothing wrong, but you don't attack somebody from behind.
There's still time. I mean, we're talking about this in July. The pay-per-view's at the end of August, right? We got a whole month to get through. And they can't just keep coming out every week and cutting babyface versus babyface promos. That's something another company would do. But they're going to have matches in between, and there's going to be time to build this up. And quite frankly, I would be totally stoked for Kenny to slide further and further into madness at the betrayal, and Will trying to justify that this is still about his story of reaching the peak of everything he's wanted. And Kenny saying, forget all that. Now it's my mission to deny you of your dream. I would be totally cool with that. I think that would be an amazing way to go. I would not mind if Kenny turned and, became the paranoid, everybody's out to get me and you're not going to take this away from me ever type of a heel.
Graps, do you think is Kenny a heel? What do you, did he do no wrong in your eyes?
I don't know. Because we'll get into my reasoning as to why I say I don't know when we get into more of what is a heel, what is a baby face in a little bit. But I think in terms of did this match need the heel by babyface dynamic? At first I was thinking it didn't need it, but it helped. But I thought about it a little more, and I think it did need it. Not necessarily as an indictment on the two wrestlers, but more this is going to be the crowning moment of the babyface that they are strapping the rocket to, that they are hitching the company to. You don't want a mixed reaction. You want the stadium behind him completely. So even though, yes, it's in his home country, let's just make it, let's cover all our bases here. Let's make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted. So if Kenny's a heel, that will probably help. And if he's not a heel, having him act a little like a heel, right, as he's doing now, sort of I guess for lack of a better term, heel tendencies, being a little bit more of an aggressor here, like as we saw him slapping Will Ospreay before, as he was about to take the hidden blade, going on his back, putting his hands in front, saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. Very heelish, by the way. I think that's what you want for this program, to get everyone behind Will Ospreay, for everyone to cheer Will Ospreay for his crowning moment.
For him to lose, and for Kenny to retain.
Can I give another sorry.
Please, no, go ahead.
It's another perspective on Kenny. And it's no secret that I have to Kenny very heavily, and I just wanted to know that what he went through is a major traumatic event. Being chronically ill is majorly traumatic, and it changes you as a person. And maybe this is just my own personal way of viewing this, but Kenny came back from that. Obviously, we've seen shades of the Kenny Omega we know, but we're not going to get that back ever again. He is different now. He has a different outlook on how people treat him. He has a different outlook on how he wrestles. And I think that, in my opinion, played a factor into this and how he, goes about interacting with Will Ospreay. So when he did that, I'm like, okay, it is clearly the effects of this. Maybe that's not the intention, but that's just a little bit how I kind of viewed it.
Well, we brought up, we're asking the question, is Kenny Omega a heel? Let's define, what do you guys think a heel actually is in today's wrestling? Because, I look at Roman Reigns and I say that's not that he's a heel. But some people say, well, he's a face because he's cheered. I look at guys like who's another ambiguous one, Jon Moxley, the Death Riders. Some people that they say they're heels. Some people say, well, no, they get cheered and Jon Moxley's okay. I mean, look at his reaction he got with Commander yesterday. The crowd was hot. So what do you guys think a heel is? What is the qualification? Now I know, the writing has a lot to do with it, but like in that writing, what are the qualifications to be a heel outside of just saying it? What are the things that are considered heelish nowadays? Because if MJF can attack Kenny Omega from behind and he's not a heel, then what is a heel? Graps, I'll start with you. What is a heel in your eyes? All
of you guys are going to disagree with me, and I guess that would make me the heel in your eyes. But I think what a heel is, it's because I have a very black and white viewpoint on this. A heel is someone that the company, the booker, wants to be booed by the crowd. That when they have their internal listings, babyface, heel, or otherwise, heel. I think that's what it is at its simplest, right? Some people could act with a lot of babyface tendencies, but if they're on that sheet, if they're meant to be booed, they're a heel.
So, I mean, but if they're meant to be booed, like the NWO was meant to be booed, but they got cheered.
Still a heel.
Grumpy, what do you think?
I was thinking about this question, and I kept for some reason I kept thinking of The Rock, back from the Attitude Era, who every week was telling people, shut your mouth. basically, this is my company, this is my ring, know your role. And he was the face. The crowd loved him. The crowd ate it up. They said his catchphrases. They cheered for him. They chanted for him. And he's out here just, little broing everybody, being a dick to everybody, insulting everybody. Somehow he's the good guy. So Attitude Era was a different time, though, because, and I'll admit that, because you could pull off some wild stuff and still be a good guy. Today, it's a lot different, and I don't really know, man. I don't have a good answer to this, because it really depends. Sometimes it's who the crowd is booing for. Sometimes it's who's stabbing people in the back. Sometimes it's who's, just doing that kind of arrogant stuff. But those lines just really, I'm not going to say they don't exist anymore. They exist with some people. They're blurred with a lot of people. It's hard. It's a hard question.
Soto, what do you think a heel is in today's wrestling?
Well, my first word I think of is antagonist, and there's a lot of abilities that a good heel needs to be able to have. So your ability to take away from the crowd, your ability to garner heat, and your ability to be vulnerable. I think one of my favorite parts about my favorite heels is the things that they're vulnerable of. Usually with the people who are not perpetual heels, they have that vulnerability because it makes it, and then in turn makes a good baby face. And like your actions truly, and I agree with Advocate big time, your actions define you as a heel and not just like the reactions from the fans. And while I understand Graps' point, because I absolutely agree, there are black and white structures of it. As wrestling has grown, I think the lines definitely have been blurred and there's a little bit more ambiguity because these definitions have been like evolved upon. So like you're the antagonist, you have all these different abilities that I named, and like you're able to take away from the audience, because also at the same time, what I define as bad, somebody else might not define that as well. So it kind of makes things really ambiguous.
Dev, can how do you define a heel? Are you on the camp of, is it crowd reaction or is it in-ring action?
I'm also pretty black and white on the matter. I think a heel has to be irredeemable, just irrefutably bad, terrible, scum, and by certain happenstances, some talents just make it look cool so they get cheered, but they're still heels. Jon Moxley is a heel. He murdered somebody. He plastic bagged somebody. He packed Daniel Bryanson up. He's a murderer. The Death Riders kill people. They're heels. But they're cool. They've always been cool. So sometimes they get cheered for it because of how Jon Moxley is in the ring. You cheer for that when someone does cool stuff and has the kind of exchanges he does with Commander. Great. That was a great match. Mm-hmm. It's one of the TV matches of the year because he's cool. But he's a heel.
To be fair, people cheered Killmonger because it was Michael B. Jordan. So I like let's just be honest, right? No, I think, but Advocate, that's also a great point because in media nowadays we see this shift where you're rooting for the bad guy. There's one of my favorite shows of all time, Snowfall, centered around a drug dealer. Being a drug dealer is essentially a bad guy role, but the show is centered to where he's the protagonist, right? In media, we are rooting for the bad guy. Venom was a movie. Venom is a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like we're what's up? What you got?
You bring up Snowfall. I haven't seen Snowfall, but you bring up Snowfall. You bring up Venom. It's like how the drug dealer is the protagonist, or Venom in this case the protagonist, and they're working baby. They might be bad people, but the filmmaker, the producer, the director wants you to be behind them. So that means they're working baby.
But like but we have to also say it sometimes it doesn't work. Right? And I think one of the best examples of that is what we're
Yeah,
seeing
please.
in Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, for the longest, was shoved down our throats, at the babyface. He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be a babyface. He was supposed to be a babyface. Supposed to be a babyface.
He was. He just wasn't a good one.
So then,
right? Because this is my logic behind it, right? I think, Jordan, I'm going to use an analogy that you will get greatly. When you play football or basketball, you are assigned a certain position. Whether for basketball you're playing point, or for football you're playing receiver. You could drop a pass, but that still means you're a receiver, just not a good one. Right? You could be meant to be cheered. You could, the office might want you to work baby and be a baby face. They still might boo you. Still means you're a baby face, just not a good one.
But I think your actions say a lot more, because, like, I think Hangman was meant to be cheered, but his actions were he burnt somebody's house down.
But that's the thing. During that run, when he came back from the Owen, he was positioned as a heel, right? Beat up old man Jeff Jarrett. You're supposed to boo that. Swerve was a bad guy for a long time. Then he turns baby. Doesn't necessarily change a lot about his character, but he, is now meant to be cheered. So that when Hangman burns down his home, you might be like, "Oh, I get it," because this guy invaded his home. At that point, they're both flawed characters, but there's one that's a babyface and there's one that's a heel. One to cheer, one to boo.
I don't think I understand what Graf is trying to say. I think it's a spectrum on both ends.
I think there's a morality spectrum, right? You can have good guys, bad guys, etc. But you could have a bad guy that's a babyface. Case in point, Christian Cage. Cage doesn't change a look about him. He's meant to be cheered.
A spectrum of faces. A white bread, an anti-hero, and an anti-babyface or a rebel. Like, there are different types of babyfaces. You get different types of heels. I think it's only wrestling has only grown into that. So that's why our lines blur.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good point. That is a very astute point of view. So then I ask, like, is that needed in today? So seeing how blurred these lines can be, do we still need the? I mean, you asked me, but I can give my answer. But I want to ask: do you still need the dynamic of heel versus face? Do you still have to have a good guy versus a bad guy? Regardless of intention, regardless of what the reaction may be, is it still needed to tell a good story? Sodo, I'll start with you.
I don't think necessarily it needs to only be good versus bad. I think a lot of really strong stories can come out of, two good guys or two bad guys. I usually, even though I love heels, I think a lot of my favorite wrestlers, I gravitate to heels a lot of the time, but some of the most human stories are two baby faces. Like, I think of one of the biggest ones I think of, Ibushi versus Tanahashi. They were two faces, and it just felt like such a real human story. Because also in movies, it's not always good versus bad. Sometimes there's movies and other pieces of media that is talking about, like familial things. You're not going against a big bad. It's just like something within your own little group, or you and one other person. I think those things need to stay around. Heel and babyface, timeless. Absolutely. I mean, I love it. It's timeless, but we have to kind of keep our minds open that sometimes other things are going to happen. And I think also culturally, different countries, different companies are going to view these labels differently. They're going to tell these kinds of heel-based stories a little bit different.
Grumpy, what do you think the dynamic is still needed? I mean, it's sort of integral in storytelling, conflict storytelling, as Lucy pointed out, but the lines are so blurred now. Like, if you wanted to, you could sell somebody on this main event between Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega just on their names alone.
Yeah, and you could say the same thing for Cope and Cage versus the Young Bucks. There is not really a clear distinction between them. And I think that's okay. Like Soto was saying, you could have matches that are just athletic contests of, I think I'm better than you, and I'm going to prove it. but you have to have a balance, and I think you have to have a majority of your ongoing stories be the heel versus face. They just are more compelling. And there's guys that are killing it, like the Don Callis family. I love the Don Callis family. A whole faction of heel killers. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. Ricochet has a face that you just want to slap the shit out of, and he is awesome at it. You gotta have a good majority of your stories be the classic heel versus face. It is a necessary trope of wrestling. It's what the industry was built off of, and it's never going to go away.
Raps, what do you think? Is this needed, or can we start to go away from it?
I think it is a fundamental aspect of wrestling. I think it is one of the rules that should be abided by, but rules are meant to be broken. So when you break the rule, you got to do it really well, right? Mm-hmm. So, yes, I think the heel versus babyface dynamic, 99.9% of the time, yes. I think it's a lot easier for face versus face than heel versus heel,
though. Yeah. I mean, so I asked the question, what is a heel? What's a babyface to you guys? Is it is it just the person who just does the right thing? Sometimes, what do we think of the current state of what a babyface is in today's wrestling? Soto, I'll start with you. Because I'll personally say I don't really like the modern babyface. The modern babyface seems very stupid, and I don't really like that.
I say that a lot. Some modern baby faces are quite stupid, but like in my view definition of it, there needs to be clear motivation that this person has. You have to have an ability to earn the love of the people. I think what makes also a great one, your honesty, having that reason for the crowd to respect you. The struggle. One of my favorite great pieces of being a babyface is your struggle, is your turmoil. I think heels can struggle because a big part of that is being a heel is having an issue, having something that you're insecure about, having a problem that you don't necessarily notice. The baby faces, they notice those insecurities that they have. They notice those emotional scars. They notice that. The heels, they don't. They run away from it. They shield it in some type of manner, i.e. an MJF. But somebody like a Hangman who kind of confronts these issues, confronts the battle within himself, kind of puts that, and then fights the big bad. So usually it's that motivation that kind of defines it for me, because it's the actions. So the motivations would kind of be included in that. Unless you're
Bandito advocate.
Bandito's another great babyface.
White meat babyface, as I'd say. Graps, what is a babyface to you? Give me a good example of a great babyface right now.
So
outside of Bandito.
And thank you for asking me that second question, because here I can get a little more meat on it. What is a babyface? What did I say a heel was? Someone who's meant to be booed by the audience. Someone who's listed on that heel sheet. Babyface, the opposite. Meant to be cheered. Someone on the babyface sheet. Now, what's a great babyface? It's someone who's able to connect with the crowd. Someone who's able to draw the cheers out of them. I think regardless of whether your actions are moral or immoral, if you could get the audience to cheer you, you're a great babyface, right? Jon Moxley for a long time was a great babyface. A little rough around the edges, little stuff that was doing immoral, like he stole the Young Bucks shoes, but the people loved it and they were able to connect with him. Being mad at your bosses, right? That Stone Cold was a great babyface in that light. But at the same time, you look at someone like Sting, or said name of someone other than Bandito, but Bandito was so good at it.
Oh, Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Exactly.
The greatest babyface to ever do it.
We can go on, and there are so many different ways to connect with the audience to make them love you, right? Some are white meat, some not so much. But as long as you can get those cheers out of them, that's what makes a great babyface.
Dev, are you there?
Yeah,
we got Dev. Give me an example of a great babyface in today's wrestling landscape.
Willow Nightingale is the perfect premier ideal babyface. That
Flip that.
is what you want to be. At the very minimum, you want to at least be an Orange Cassidy. Like I think you can be careless. You know, all you have to do is not be a piece of garbage. That's all you gotta do.
But you can
To
be.
me.
If people connect with that, I mean, you look at MJF's run in 23. Our scumbag. He was still poking people in the eyes.
Yeah, our scumbag, yeah.
I brought up Christian Cage earlier, talking about people's dead parents and banging the ones that are alive.
But they still have to like improve or have a character arc. You know, they gave people reason. Yeah.
Christian Cage didn't change anything at all. Adam Copeland's got to shut him up so much.
He's with Cope. He stopped beating the piss out of Cope.
Is that necessarily a character change or a change in environment?
That's the reason he gave the audience to cheer for him. And MJF started playing video games. Like, it's the little things that they have to do sometimes.
That's funny. That is funny. I can you guys get into, you know, the rarities of the heel versus heel, a face versus face? Because I find it a little bit difficult to get into like heel versus heel or face versus face, because I find that they're not wrestling over anything, that there aren't any stakes. So we talked about the blurred lines. So when these lines do get blurred, do you find yourself like maybe less interested, or are you just, you know, are you still locked in? Grumpy, I'll go with you. You know, when it comes to like heel versus heel, face versus face, or do you even notice or care?
I was thinking about this question. I think it's kind of funny that the heel is, the face is the guy just out there vibing and enjoying life and trying to have a good time, like Bandito. The heel is the guy that wants to step in and ruin his fun, step on his good time, you know, for whatever reason. And I just like it. I just like it. I mean, the bully coming in, thinking he can push everybody around, and eventually he gets his comeuppance. Everybody loves the bully getting their comeuppance. Right. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't think you could. I don't think I could ever go without it. They lock you in this cycle of the feel good, of the build up, the build up, the build up, and the feel good. It's in the DNA of wrestling.
If we booked Brian Cage versus let's say Nick Wayne, they're both heels. I mean, are you still interested in that matchup?
I think I would find a way to have fun with it, because I think Brian Cage tossing around a little guy is fun. But I often connect with, the only thing that appeals to me about heel versus heel is the visuals. It's just two pieces of shit beating the hell out of each other. That can appeal to me, but like more story wise, face versus face hits a lot better. Like, I'm seeing this fight for pride. It's not like I'm trying to defeat something, but this fight for like just resilience between two people, and there's a battle of respect there. Those can be really, really compelling matches. I mentioned earlier Tanahashi versus Kota Ibushi. That was a face versus face matchup. And Tanahashi's a perpetual babyface, and they didn't really set it up like there was going to be a heel, in my opinion. And that was like one of the most moving pieces of story that I've ever seen. Those two, it just felt very human. So I think the face versus face works a lot better than heels. It's really difficult to do a heel versus heel, because the crowd wants somebody to cheer for. With the face, you kind of have to, you're forced to pick one with two faces. With heels, it's a little bit more tricky.
Graps, what do you like? Are you okay with the a heel versus heel or babyface versus babyface dynamic, or do you need that bit of conflict?
If you're asking my preference between heel versus heel or babyface versus babyface, I did say earlier I do prefer babyface versus babyface. It's a lot easier way to break that rule, right? Because you're having people choose between their heroes, right? It's like when Captain America and Captain America and Tony Stark, Iron Man fought, right? Still, you know, the audience will view them as heroes, but you might gravitate to one over the other, right? If you're having two villains fight, it's like, I don't want to cheer for any of these guys. I want to just boo the whole time. So it makes a match harder to structure in terms of, like people will talk about is like, oh, the heat or the cooldown, whatever, right? Who do you get the audience to cheer? I think it makes it a lot harder in that aspect.
I mean, what if I'm not trying to get them to cheer? I just want a reaction. I'm just trying to get them to boo. Is that not? Because if they're both heels, I'm not trying to get them cheers. I'm trying to get them booed.
But do you want to watch a fight where you hate both these guys, right? Jordan, would you watch Eagles versus Giants if it didn't have any stakes? If it was a 1:00 game on a Monday or on a Sunday? Exactly.
Probably not. Yeah.
Right? The only time you would do a heel versus heel is when there's big stakes. And
very good point.
Right? If you're doing that for big stakes, wouldn't you rather prefer fans to cheer one of the two? So you'd want to turn one of them babyface?
Neither of these guys clap.
If I had players in my fantasy football league, I would probably tune in.
Jordan, if we're talking about American wrestling, that's 5 syllables. You think we could get them to chant 5 syllables? Neither of these guys?
The Brits could probably do it. They can chant anything.
Or we can do, what do we think of? That's a great chant. Shout out to him.
We hate them both. Yeah. We hate them both. But then that's the audience hijacking, and then you're really watching more for the audience than the wrestlers, and then that just hurts the wrestlers. So if you're doing heel versus heel, right, in that build-up, you're probably just going to turn one of them babyface anyways, so then you can get the audience invested in the fight instead of getting themselves over.
So as we're getting ready to head out here.
We got an overrun.
Yeah. Let's answer the question definitely. Is Kenny Omega a heel? Graps, yes, no.
Don't know. What do we want? What is he listed on? What does Tony Khan want us to react?
Well, tell me. What do you think? Do you think he? Because it's as of last night, it seems like he wants to. He's meant to be.
What do I think, or what do I want? Let's do this. What do you
want? What do you want?
I want him to turn heel. I think it'll be a much more interesting story dynamic.
Grumpy?
I don't think he's yet, but we're on the road, and I want to see it.
Sodo?
Keep him in that middle ground. He is not a heel.
All right. Dev?
He's a baby face that's pissed off. He's a baby face.
A baby face is pissed off. I kind of like that. Yeah, there is another archetype, which Sodo, I'm glad that you point out the layers of the dynamics, because that is one. Because you could remember Frankie Kazarian, the Bullet Club hunter.
Elite hunter.
He was a face. He was
like
a
a
face.
Vigilante. He's like the anti-hero.
He's like
a damn reaction to save his life.
Bret Hart.
Right.
But the thing about vigilantes, though, vigilantes are hunted by the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're still not
really gray area there.
Yeah, that's like, but and I'm glad. And as we close, that's what's a great thing about wrestling is that we are at a point now to where we have these layers and these nuances in wrestling stories. I mean, we're sitting there trying to figure out what Kenny Omega's intentions are. And what he's really wanting. It's really good conversation to have. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching, for liking, subscribing, for tuning into the WrestleCollective, for all WrestleCollective stuff. Again, please, we got Wrestling with Tism every Monday. If you like wrestling but you want to talk, you don't want to talk. It's one of our best shows. Is the best way to put it. It is a show that is wrestling based but not wrestling centered. And it is one of the greatest shows that I think that we do. We also have Queens Road. I don't know the next date for Queens Road, so August I don't want to get August 9th. There we go. August 9th. So please make sure to check out the next episode of Queens Road, August 9th. Gonna be a lot to talk about, I'm sure, coming off the heels of SummerSlam this coming weekend.
Trouble.
A lot of, so a lot of trouble. So a lot to talk about. So please make sure to check out Queens Road August 9th. Again, Wrestling with Tism every Monday. Collective Weekly every Thursday. Again, I want to thank all of my panel here, all of my co-hosts here for taking the time out of their days for joining us in today. So please make sure to, as you see all of their ads, please make sure to like and subscribe. Well, follow them. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the Wrestle Collective. And I want to just remind you guys, one of the best and most important ways to support the Wrestle Collective is shopwc.com. We sell merch. We got merch. We got some of the best wrestling merch, to me, in my opinion, that makes you. It's a wrestling shirt that doesn't look like a wrestling shirt. It's pretty cool to me. We got some new designs coming down the chute. So make sure you check out that QR code for more information there. Towards the future, we are looking for starting a gaming channel soon. So we will be on Twitch in the coming weeks. We're going to be figuring out the kinks. So sooner or later, this show will be going live on Twitch. The Wrestle Collective as a whole will be going live on Twitch. So that is something towards the future to look forward to. Anything else anybody want to close out with? Any closing message you guys got for the listeners, for our supporters?
Advocate can't be here with us this week, so I just want to say fuck Cody Rhodes. Keep the belt on Punk.
Graps, Dev, Soto, anything else you guys got for the supporters?
Put the Triple D back on Max.
Did you say the Triple D?
The Triple D, yo.
Pause.
Did you have a message from the Advocate of Yazm?
Yes, I do have a message from the Advocate of Yazm. Fuck CM Punk, put the belt back on Cody Rhodes.
Well, for Grumpy, for Soto, for Dev, for Big Graps, otherwise known as Ryan, we are the Wrestle Collective. We thank you for watching. That'll do it for us. Please, we'll see you next week.
This your warning shot. Boo, 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 boo. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, this is the Wrestle Collective.